what are we illustrating? We're illustrating representation. So ये क्या है? अगर आपको याद हो, we spoke about this on last week. One of the things that we can take a look at is labs. So results. So EKG, ECG, blood markers, lipid profile, and HbA1c. And it has a range of possible values. So normal के केस के अंदर ये values हैं, stress के केस में ये values हैं, indicative केस में ये values हैं. And ये आपके पास sample data आ रहा है, right? Then you've got related factors. So BMI, hypertension, insulin resistance, diabetic, COVID-19, blood clots, inflammatory diseases, allergic reactions, last allergic reaction, emotional trauma, muscular injury, excessive physical activity, long haul travel, absence, presence, severity. And then you've got these values here. And then demographics में age, gender, build, smoker, non-smoker, substance abuse, minimum minutes of exercise per week. These are all possible potential values that a client or a patient may have. And then you put these together. So for example, in this specific instance, this is an input layer 1. So if you're building a neural network that will allow you to go through medical records and find out whether a patient is at high risk for having a heart attack or is having a heart attack, you would sort of break this down and build these layers in such a fashion that they map to your layer 0. Then map that to hidden layers and then put that together, and you actually get a sense of what do the values look like. So to do this, to get to this specific point in time, what do you need to do? How is this different from board eval? Or what is the common theme between this example and the board evaluation case? Probability of losing and winning was what? Was the signal. We find the signal. The signal for us in board eval was predicting probability of losing and winning. यहाँ पे हम क्या करें? यहाँ पे we finding the probability of having a heart attack. So probability of having a heart attack versus probability of winning. So दोनों cases में हम signal generate करें. दोनों cases में signal generation के हमें क्या करना पड़ा? We had to, what did we have to do? We had to collect the relevant information, put that relevant information in a form that we can work with, and what do we call this? We call this representation. Does that make sense? The board eval engine that you've just gone through, that we walked through earlier, this board eval engine, right? This board eval engine, what was this? This is representation. 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 All of this is what we collating, collecting information, compressing that information in a shape, in a format where we can get one metric that summarizes everything we need to know so that we can act on that information. That is the primary purpose of representation. And the common theme between board evaluation and our cardiac case study is essentially that they both generate a signal. They both compress information to generate a signal that we can put to work. The probability of having a heart attack, the higher probability of having a heart attack is not a good thing. But the probability of having a heart attack is what you're solving for. That's the objective of the signal. अब तुम इसी को लिंक कर लो with this concept of viral escape, right? Viral escape में क्या करें हम? देखिए, जो एक बहुत important चीज़ है ना, this is how you have to study. In the papers that we assign, the questions I ask, you have to ask yourself, what are the common themes? What is the common theme between viral escape, board eval, and the cardiac arrest case study? तीनों में common theme क्या है? Viral escape में आप क्या करें? Viral escape में you're identifying the region of highest, escaping the immune system. Probability of a pathogen escaping the immune system. And escaping how? Escaping by mutation. So you're identifying areas of high viral escape so that you can focus vaccine development in that area. Cardiac arrest में क्या करें? You're identifying patients with a higher risk of heart attack so that you can intervene in their lives and save their lives before they have a heart attack. Board eval में आप क्या करें? You're trying to find the probability of winning or losing so you can identify the moves that have a higher probability, higher chance of you winning. So जो related themes हैं, वो related themes क्या हैं? एक related theme is information compression. You want to compress the information ideally in a very simple, very basic, very easy to communicate, express and represent signal. In Bode-Eval, that is the probability of winning. In heart attack, it's the probability of having a heart attack. In viral escape, it's the area of high viral escape, the most likely area of high viral escape. इन तीनों केसेस के अंदर हमने बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन ली और उसे कंप्रेस किया. सो एक साहब हैं, आपने नाम नहीं सुना होगा उनका नाम है क्लॉड शैनन. क्लॉड शैनन is essentially considered the father of information theory, and he's done a lot of interesting work, but one of the most relevant pieces of Shannon's life work is essentially trying to figure out how do you compress information, how do you compress signals, how do you remove or add noise to those signals, right? This is some stuff that you will study later on in other courses, but Shannon is somebody that you have to read if you're genuinely, naturally interested in this concept of information theory. So एक element आपका signal compression, information compression and signal generation का है. उसके लिए ज़रूरी क्या है? उसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि you understand the context and you understand the domain. उसके लिए ये भी ज़रूरी है that you understand how to represent that information, how to share that, how to present that information so that both individuals, patients, customers, clients, partners understand that, but that information is also in an easy to use form in a system setting, so systems can also understand that information. And the third thing that you have to do is you have to model that behavior. So हमने जो शुरू में बात की थी, when you spoke about understanding requirements, building models for those requirements, designing solutions for those requirements, exploring, planning, designing, implementing solutions for those requirements, all of these are related themes. तो इस हफ्ते के जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो एक्सरसाइज ये कि हमने 4 चीज़ें आपके सामने प्रेजेंट की. We presented word generation, a most inefficient word generation that would put your teachers to shame if you sort of showed that and said, this is how I would generate words in Scrabble. Then we looked at board evaluation. Then we looked at tree search and tree look ahead. And then the most important part was that we investigated, explored, demonstrated, illustrated the fact that a lot of these fields that we looked at, and we used Scrabble as our primary case study, we demonstrated that whatever we've done with Scrabble does not just apply to Scrabble, but also has significant applications when we take those concepts to the field of computational biology and start looking at understanding how to work with either DNA or RNA, with proteins, with enzymes, or even protein folding later on. जब आप AlphaFold की movie देखेंगे अगले हफ्ते, you understand why the work that we've done this week was important for you to understand the work you'll have to do next week.